first few years of college, I threw every single day.
Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
More day one action coming at you from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships live from Ajax, Ontario. The Nepean Knights out of Ottawa, Ontario, your 12 seed, taking on the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles out of Winnipeg, Manitoba in the dark jerseys, your 5 seed. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine bringing you the action. Thank you for tuning in again for this stream. We're live from Ajax, located on the traditional territory of the Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Anishinaabe peoples. Just wanted to let you know, Ultimate Canada always looking to build a more diverse group of volunteers. If you're interested in commentating, manning the camera, or live stream duties, you can contact them at CanadianUltimate.com and get in on the action. We got action coming at you right now. Pool D, the D2 versus D3 matchup. Nepean coming off a loss here to Etobicoke earlier in the day, 13-6, whereas the Eagles of St. John's Ravenscourt, dominant win, 13-1.
St. John's, perennial powerhouse team. One of the favorites for this tournament. I don't think that's taking a big step out on a limb. Nepean, disappointed in their first game, they're going to look to reset. They got the nervous energy out. The coach has them focused. This should be a good matchup.
Nepean has a lot of coaches as well. That's going to help try to stem some of this Eagles momentum that they're going to try to build here. Cooper Pollitt going down the line, floaty throw, but it's going to sit into the receiver's hands, but it's out of bounds. I was going to celebrate a score for Siddiqui, but it's not going to work in his favor. Just out of bounds. Cooper Pollitt, Saeed Siddiqui, a couple of Team Manitoba's open team that won a national title. We're going to talk about that a lot during this broadcast. That experience really going to help them out here. Vertical stack set for Nepean. It's going to be another turnover here, so an opportunity for a break. Once again, Cooper Pollitt going down the line. Finds his target for the score, waiting for the ruling. It is indeed a goal, and the Eagles coming out hot here with a break.
That's good, too. We have to wait for that signal. You were a little preemptive on your first celebration there. We should set up a little bit. You've seen some of the throws here. We should set up the wind, Theo. It's been right to left on your screen. A couple of bullet passes that haven't been caught by Nepean. They were hot, coming in hot. That's a little bit because of the wind. St. John's going from left to right into the wind. A couple nice throws. Nice goal we just saw.
They started with 4 male matching players, now going to move into 4 female matching players. And with the gender polling rules that we have in mixed ultimate, a female matching player will be pulling. So we see that getting ready to go for St. John's Ravenscourt. Sean Storm, one of the coaches of this team, along with Dean Wright, their trainer Becky Adams. And Sean Storm, a coach of that Team Manitoba squad I mentioned before, has been a perennial contender in the junior club scene. So that experience, both as a coach for this team and for the junior club, will pay dividends in this matchup. As Nepean, how are they going to bounce back here? Going left to right now on the screen. You mentioned the wind as well.
Yeah, wind will be a factor. Nepean does like to play zone, so having this wind actually plays into what they like to do, their view of the game. So that's good for them. Actually open on some of those earlier passes. It's just they were coming in hot because of the wind. The handlers need to adjust to that wind and give the receivers a chance to make those plays.
Justine Russell, who played for Team Manitoba on the women's side with the pull there for St. John Ravenscourt. They're on defense, floaty throw. But Finley gonna grab it. One of the Finley's also a coach here for the Nepean Knights. Gonna go cross field, trying to throw a receiver open. That's gonna hang. And that's a nice shot from Jackson Finley over to Peyton Dickey for the score.
Excellent throw. Played the wind well. The receiver read it well as well. If you look at these teams, there's a couple of good tall players. Each team has 2 or 3 with some height, and we saw a little height mismatch on that toss to the end zone. The receiver had the height and could actually play that disc a little easier, right?
Dickey getting involved, having played for Wicked East. So Ottawa having their own club system. You got Wicked West, their top junior women's squad, and then also Wicked East. So lots of experience on both sides at the junior club level, and I believe that's going to be very important because you're going to see, we already talked about this on the first broadcast, the future of Ultimate happening right now in front of your eyes. So we thank you for tuning in on the stream. Get a chance to look at the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles offensive line, SJR as they're aptly known. A little abbreviation for you. Cooper Pollitt back on the field once again, noticing him out there. And he's going to be playing some heavy minutes as well for this team.
So good response from Nepean. Did what they needed to do. Didn't get rattled by that first point. Even the coach, as we were speaking to them, said their first game they looked tentative, had some nervous energy. It's their first game here at Nationals. Let's see how they bounce back. It didn't look like they were nervous on that last goal. They had a nice toss, read the disc well. Good play.
Mentioned Pollitt playing that defensive point. So is Justine Russell back on the field. So you're going to ride the big horses right now. It's Nepean going to that zone that we had talked about that they were going to do. And Pollitt's throw maybe coming a little too hot there. And it's going to result in a turnover. Nepean now a chance for the break.
You can see the patience from Nepean. They're not in a rush to get the disc. They're not in a hurry. They don't look agitated or anything by the play. They're just doing what they need to do.
Went a couple different looks there, and Farquhar trying to reel that one in, but a little clap catch is sometimes can be difficult with the wind. You got to really see it in before you decide to throw. That's what we've noticed for sure. As Russell now on this close side over to Pollitt. Pollitt has a receiver going deep. Nice snag with the right hand for the score. That's Nihal Daya, part of that Team Manitoba contingent I had mentioned previously, and that is actually a Team Manitoba connection right there for the score.
And SJR, you saw, they went straight across the field. They had 4 people in the backfield, strung it out across, and then hit the deep shot. Nullified the zone right away. You could see the cup was only about halfway across the field trying to contain that series of swing passes. So perfect play from SJR to break that zone. So we'll watch and see what kind of adjustments the zone make in the future. A little harder on the mark so you can't get that break swing off.
And you know, with zone offense, you want to be moving the disc quickly. Anytime you just sit as a handler, you're looking for options, but when you do that, that might cause you actually some more issues because the defense gets to lock down a little bit more. So right now we're getting a look at Storm once again, talking to the defensive line. Siddiqui set to pull number 21. Wearing the little bucket hat out there. Little sun protection for you on this pretty beautiful day. I'm going to say that, Andrew. We've seen Ontario having some not great weather for those tuning in from different parts of the country. So this is great to see, knock on wood, for the weather so far.
Yeah. Forecast says it's going to be a fantastic weekend both days. So even our semifinals, finals tomorrow, good conditions to let these athletes show what they have. And especially in the finals, you want those top teams to really have everything, right? No excuses because of weather, rain, wind.
And Nepean not able to put their strongest pull defense out there, or pull receiving, I should say, having to start back. And able to move it at least past the end zone for now, avoiding a potential Callahan. Now working to this open side. Going down the line, and that throw going to sail above everyone. Ryan Marshall was in coverage there and is going to pick up the disc. Patrick Tenden, the intended target, now on the mark. Picking up right away is Nepean, Jackson Finley. Dinking and dunking here near the end zone. A little open side action, and coming down from the backside is Rowan Hopkins for the score.
That's well done not to give up on that. Not the intended target, but goal's a goal no matter how you get it, right?
It was intended for somebody else, but you mentioned that. You got to scoop it up just in case, and they did just that, and Nepean gets the hold that they needed there. Wasn't a clean hold, but hey, you're going to take it if you're Coach Carlos Baus. You got to be feeling good.
So, Theo, what's your take on some of the eye black on these Nepean players? I see 2 or 3. Intimidation, or is that something they wear every game?
No, I saw Calvin with that earlier as well. They got the red ones, and I think that just adds a little more swag, a little more swagger, as I mentioned, to their play. It makes you feel good. It's kind of like some war paint out there. I like it. So I like it, especially when most of the team does it. If 1 or 2 people do it, it's not. I'm not the biggest fan of that. But if everyone's got it on, like I saw with Calvin, it looks hype.
Yes, that's why I'm asking you. I think Nepean, maybe I see 2, 3 players out there. Is that trying to intimidate maybe a national level opponent that they know is a strong team, or is that something these players are wearing every day?
Maybe it's just style. Maybe it's for, I heard it helps baseball players do it. It helps the glare. I've worn it a couple times. I just don't like all the mess it gets on your jersey, especially if you have a white jersey on, you're toasted.
But you lay out all the time. You've got grass stains anyways, so, I mean, what's a little eye black on your jersey, right, Theo?
I don't know if the laying out, but I appreciate it. Paulette, Russell working, give and go. Paul had been doing all the heavy lifting, going for a 3rd straight assist, and he does just that. Ewan Bohm with the grab, and Paul, we talked about a player to watch, and 3 points, or the 3 Eagles points have been all from Paulette assists.
So Theo, the start of that throw, the glide on that throw, and the receiver with a tail end grab near the back of the end zone and watching his feet. What a play on both sides, the throw and the catch. That is textbook ultimate right there.
Ewan Bohm coming down with that score for the Eagles. It's 3-2 the score. SJR started off with a break, so they're actually up a break right now with Nepean starting on offense. So once half takes place, SJR are going to be out on offense. So we're seeing a lot of the same players on the field here. It's a female matching ratio here. So that's interesting strategy because we're still early in the tournament. I know it's only a 2-day tournament. It's not a 3-day club tournament, let's say, but it's still interesting to note what the usage of certain players is going to be.
Yeah, and would it be interesting as the game goes on, if it's going to be trading points, are they going to continue to do that? If the score starts to get a little lopsided, do you open the bench a bit more and play for tomorrow, you know, rest and get players where they need to be? SJR is a title contender. Like, even talking to them, they expect to be in the Final Four. They probably expect to be in the finals. So they've got to watch how they manage their players, because they're going to have a long tournament with hard games all the way up till the finals. The other
Russell on the mark here, having pulled. They're going to be the main puller for this SJR squad. Good contest on the reset as well.
Yeah, sorry to cut you off there, Theo. I was going to just say the other thing to watch is, hold on, we got a big play here.
Oh, it shows an vertical, but over jumps it. And now Nepean staying on offense here. Farquhar resets it. Inside shot that you wanted inside, but it comes out outside in instead there for the handler Lumley.
Just to finish my thought, Theo, is these players play a lot of club ultimate. They're used to grinding out points. They're used to playing a lot of points in a tournament. They're playing top-level club for the most part. So, you know, these Manitoba teams that we have here, Calvin, SJR, they're used to this type of usage if you're playing multiple points in a row.
Fletcher on the mark. He was saying that the disc went out a lot earlier, and we're going to see where it ends up. Pollitt trying to dial up a huck down the line, but just never kind of came in there. So now the Knights, you're gifted with an opportunity. A lot of Knights fans out as well. Parents out here cheering.
Coming in from the regions, not too far away, right? Nice drive down one, and parents can make that trip.
Lumley connection there. Finds Maeve for the score. 42-22. A little Lumley connection to get the hold.
There's also a Lumley on the sideline with a clip, so I think group there. I guess we talk a little bit about the Nepean coaching staff as well. We talked a little bit about SG, other experience. The Nepean coaches, and you see it in reflected play, is the coaches are very calm people. We have Coach Carlos Baus. I see Lumley on the sideline. Calm people. You can see that in the way the players are playing. They're not speeding up their play and doing things that they're not used to doing and accustomed to doing in practice, right? Calm, patient play.
Carlos wearing a red hat out there discussing some instruction. And you got to be feeling good. I know the early nerves, the jitters, the loss to Etobicoke was a very team. I expect to see them in the that's a quarters level team right or beyond, traditionally strong as well. So you got the nerves out, and now you're in this tight game at least so far. 3-all to score. Still got to get a break back, but lots of game left. 75 minutes for the fans at home. If this is your first time joining us for the tournament, and if you're tuning in again, you watched the first one. We appreciate.
And Nepean doing well with themselves. SJR gave up 1 point, I believe, in their first game. So Nepean's already got 3 on the board. They're playing competitive. They're playing with the top dogs here. They should be very happy and continue to play this way.
McCabe going to draw some cheers from the sideline as they zip it forward. Farron looking deep. Dobson brings in the Farron throw for the score. Emery Farron dialing up a shot.
Excellent read. That wind caught that. She was going to undercut it, and the wind popped it up a little bit. Great read not to undercut that. We're starting to see a little more variability in the wind. Discs are going to popping up. You know, have to be extra cautious on your shot going across field. The wind is going upwind, downwind based on play right now. So going across field is going to get gusty, shall we say here. So teams are going to have to watch that.
Depending where you're from, Andrew, the wind can be a different factor, right? Certain places you got more wind, certain places you got less. So that's something to continue to note. Farron, who threw that assist. Fact about him, he went to Sweden for a hockey tournament with Daniel Alfredson. So any NHL fans in the audience probably know Alfie and what he did with the Senators. So the fact that he was coached by him at a tournament, that's kind of cool. You don't hear that every day.
You're loving the dual sport athletes. Hey, you do your research.
The dual sport athlete is important. You know, I'm going to plug my quick philosophy on that, which is I think athletes should be playing multiple sports year round, getting that development in. So you play ultimate, you play hockey, you play basketball. I love it because I think it's just going to translate well to all the sports. Is this pole going to go out of bounds, digging a bench on the near sideline? Cooper Pollitt going to pick up. This team Manitoba who won gold, with a lot of players returning, they have some graduates. That is a team to watch out for in junior club, which will happen later on this summer. And you can see it in August as Pollitt going to walk it up to the middle of the field. Not sure if Nepean knew that, but look at the marks they got right now in their zone. That's some tall, very long marks they got in their zone set. Andreev on the mark here, number 9. Switching off with Bendel, one of the spirit captains of this team.
So if you notice, Theo, those 2 marks that have the wide wingspan are on the side swings, not in front of the handler to take away a deep and have to go over that big wingspan. So they're encouraging perhaps an over-the-top shot.
Daya having to leave his feet for that grab to save things. Nice shot, tipped, and Dickey gonna get credit with the block. It kind of redirected Pollitt's catching opportunity there. Andreev looking for cuts, finds a teammate there in Hopkins. Hopkins keeping things going down the open side to Bendel. Bendel looking for the flick. You can see him powering it up now, faking a couple throws here. He's trying to squeak a throw through to Andreev, but not going to come up on that one. Minish finding Pollitt. Pollitt going cross field with the flick. The vision there, trying to find his teammate in Coulier. Injury called though.
Well, we're sorting out the injury. Nepean was taking these open throws, open side, but they were pinned on this sideline. They tried to thread it through such a narrow window before that turnover, before the D happened. Almost hit the handler defender in the back of the jersey, basically. Just such a tight window.
As we see substitutions happening here, talking a little bit about St. John's Ravenscourt and their history here at this tournament.
They are the only team that's participated in every edition of this tournament.
That is a good fact.
9.
This tournament hasn't been around for that long, and it's great that it's continuing to develop. And we hope that, speaking with someone with the president of the board here with Andrew, hopefully this could even expand more to get more teams from geographic distances out here. Tip disc going to result in a block for Josh Harding. He's a tall mark out there. Pollitt going cross field. That throw just not going to work out there. And the thing with a high volume thrower like Pollitt, you're going to see some turnovers, but you're going to take that with the usage he's going to get, and you trust him with the throws, even though sometimes it might go a little further or it might just miss someone.
For sure, when you're handling the disc that much, I mean, you're still going to have a 95%, 97% completion percentage, but the volume alone, like if you look at hard numbers, that's not going to statistically look good, but percentage-wise, ratio-wise, top-notch. I believe Steve Nash got 2 MVPs with that philosophy. Did he not in the NBA?
I like our cross-sport references here as Russell getting up high for the block, leaving no doubt. Didn't want to bat it down, caught it, and just continue things going. Dialing it up deep, looking for Harding. That's a good shot. The win, I think, carrying that a little bit more than he would have wanted there. Connor Minish on the throw.
Yeah, that's a couple of throws in a row that have sailed more to that back corner and far side. We have to see if the players adjust to that.
Stand corrected. That was Ryan Marshall with the throw there for the Eagles. Trying to dial up Harding on the deep shot. Harding now going to be on the mark here or on one of the off-handlers. And a timeout called by the Knights. A smart timeout, I think. They're trying to get a second break in a row. They're up 4-3. Couple turnovers each side for this point. Andrew, we're going to take a break as well and be right back, and hope you tune in for the rest of this exciting Pool D matchup. We're back for first half action at the Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. Nepean versus the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles here. Nepean up 4-3. Starting out on defense, they took a timeout, trying to settle things down and trying to cash in on this break. Multiple turnovers each side on this point. Finley. He's been touching it. He hasn't thrown an assist yet, but he's been involved a lot in keeping the offense moving here as Paulett slapping that one down. See that zone look once again from the Knights. Russell keeping things moving over to Minish. Minish inside shot all the time in the world for Marshall. Fakes out Harding and instead gonna go to the other side of the field to Russell. Russell finds Minish, but a travel is called. We see that from Justin Lee, one of the observers on the far side, ruling it a travel. I believe it was called by a player on the field actually. And it was called by Kieran Bendel, number 52 for the Nepean Knights, on Marshall, the thrower. A couple throws earlier, actually.
SJR moving the disc so quick, we can't even tell how far back the calls are being made. Like, they're doing exactly what they need to do against a zone. Moving the zone, moving the disc quickly. That across the field shot, right to that soft spot on the far side of the field. Brilliant, brilliant play.
Low throw picked up by Russell over to Paulett. They have someone poaching the lanes there. Gonna have to try to get them out. Marshall looking for options, swinging it around. Marshall still retains the disc. Knocking on the doorstep of the end zone. Can Harding get his feet in bounds? He does. Nice toes in. Back to Paulett. Paulett going around, couple players there, but ends up no one making the grab. Russell was there, Cuvelier, and Marshall.
Did everything right. Move the disc side to side, wore the cup out, moved the defense, just couldn't punch it in. They did everything perfectly.
Nepean running things up here. It's still a defensive point for them if you're just tuning in here. They're coming down in a vertical stack. Looks very disciplined. Not too many players cutting, and that's just once again a testament to the coaching staff here. Finley. High stall count, has to rip it up. And Marshall gets the block. Here, set it up. We get the joy of being close to the sideline here with our setup, so we can hear what they're saying. This throw gonna be up. Harding. Good read though by Jackson Finley, boxing out. Harding got a couple inches on him, but he did a great job of reading that disc.
Yeah, wonderful. You beat me to it. He used the body, ran through, made the D. Wonderful D.
Been a timeout on this point as well, so we'll see if they decide. Dell trying to bend that throw to his receiver, Farquhar, but
I see what you did there. So what I like to see what Nepean just did there, they started with a break throw to that far sideline as you view the field, and then went up the sideline. Didn't connect, but it's the right way to go. The last few offensive possessions, they come straight in front of our table and been pinched off on the open sideline.
Trying to trap through the zone, and an inside shot. Good idea there from Marshall, because Paulett was taken away by the mark there of Payne Dickey as an offside handler defender. Finley has a couple of poaches.
No mark, no rush to do anything with the disc at this point.
Really no rush, and batting it down, making sure. You got to make sure. And they do just that. Throw going on from Paulett. And Finley didn't get the block on that one, but the coverage was impeccable. He provides some help on that one. Would you be surprised if you see another timeout here? This, I think, is a pretty crucial point. Whoever doesn't get it, the wind's really going to be taking out the sails.
Yeah, I'd be surprised to probably see a second timeout. But I also said that last game where I like to let players play through some of their troubles and turbulations.
Throw going on for Bendel. He's not in though. Hopkins with the throw there. Bendel flipping it over to Payne Dickey, and they get the break. Bendel collapsing onto the ground. He's tired, but he throws the assist for the break. That's 3 straight points for the Knights.
Bendel's reward for all that running, someone jumped on his back and got carried off the field, so he still has to do heavy lifting even in times of celebratory nature.
Now here's what I'm interested in. How does the Eagles, or how do the Eagles respond knowing that they went up big in their last game? They didn't really face a lot of pressure. They're experiencing it right now with the zone look, the wind helping them a lot as well for Nepean Knights zone. Looks like a timeout is called. I think it's a smart one there. I'm going to gather, we'll confirm with the observer, I'm going to gather it's from the Eagles, down a couple points here.
Yeah, I'd agree with you, and they're probably collecting their thoughts on what line do they want to put out. As you said last point, it is a pretty crucial point in this game, just the way the score is going. They probably want to get a good, solid power line out there and reestablish the tone from their side of the disc, right? So we'll see how they come out.
Nepean Knights up 5-3. We'll be right back. Thank you for joining us for Ultimate Canada's coverage of the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. The Nepean Knights out of Ottawa, Ontario. Your 12 seed, D3 in the pool, or 3 seed in the pool of Pool D, taking on the St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles, the 5 seed out of Winnipeg, Manitoba, 2nd seed in the pool. And Nepean up 5-3 here. Theo on here with Andrew Portwine. Andrew, what have you seen so far from Nepean that's allowed them to rattle off 3 straight points? A hold and then 2 breaks.
So we spoke to the coaches before, and they talked about the nervous energy in their first game that they lost. They've settled themselves down. Give credit to the coaching staff to saying, forget about that game, short memory. You know, all the coaches say these things after a loss, but they really have played a restrained, well-coached game.
Paul going to bat it away, and that's going to take it, an opportunity from Zhang. Zhang had a chance, but Lomley batting it away, preventing that from being caught. And that ferocious defense right now from Nepean playing dividends in a vertical stack set. Bells has the reset. Inside shot. It's not going to work out this time around.
Nepean looking for break, though. So they're looking break actively now out of their stack instead of taking the open side, whatever's given to them defense.
And that coaching is really going to help. Nice bobble. Zhang keeps concentration. Working it with Pollock. You see how deep the stack is. Pollock going to the open side. Might have been a blown assignment there. Bohm with the score. That's how you settle things down if you're SJR. But I'm not sure what happened defensively there because you're taught early on not to give up the open side.
Yeah, a little miscommunication in the end zone defense there. It happens once in a while. Coaches, again, we know that they're going to settle the players and forget about that mistake. It happens.
Nepean coming out on offense, going left to right on your screen. It is going to be a female matching point, so Russell going to be out pulling, and she's been doing a lot of that for the squad as they talk to Sean Storm. And they get instruction. As I mentioned about number 25, Cooper Pollock, he ain't coming off the field, folks. He's thrown every assist for this SJR squad. And when you're in tough and you need a spark, you're going to lean on your big-time players to do so. And that's what the Eagles are choosing to do right now. We see Carlos Baus and the coaching staff dialing up strategies of their own here. They got to be feeling good, though, of how they've come out and how they've played so far.
Yeah, and you're talking about SJR here with their players that they want to lean on and they want to reestablish their directive in this game. We said earlier they've been to this thing 9 times. How many times they won? Theo, you know this.
I've been told 3 championships. 2 spirit of the game, too. Can't forget about that. That's important.
So clearly they have championship pedigree. This isn't going to phase them being down a point at this point in the game and having a little bit of push from their opponent. They're used to this. They play in championship games.
And I think it's actually going to be helpful for them because you want to be tested a little bit here. Zone look from the Eagles, you want to be tested early as well. And they're experiencing that right now. Siddiqui is in the deep space, hovering. He's a tall player for them, and so I don't know if they're going to test it deep right now. They're working side to side instead. Farron. Farron going to dial up the flick. But as I mentioned, this Siddiqui going to come out with the block and move things right away, and maybe too fast as Coulier can't get that one into the breadbasket. Tendon. You could hear from the sideline, not sure if we picked up on the mic, about watching the double teams here, and Tendon just staring down, not really looking recent until now, so not sure if that's what Coach Carlos Baus told him to do, but right now he's staring downfield and eventually going to swing it, and they're try to move it downfield. They do just that, but it results in a turnover.
It's a good job. SJR stayed in.
Pollitt going deep. Siddiqui was firing. He just came from the backfield in the deep space, went right downfield, but it doesn't work out for them.
I was saying, SJR, they stayed in zone even after the turnover around half field, so they're committed to it from the looks of it. They want that different look for Nepean to see.
It's worked out for them so far, so I think they should stay with it. I think Nepean could move it a little bit faster here. We've seen how SJR moves it very quickly, so they would be well pressed to do the same. And they've been failed to get it also to this close side of the field, and I think that's causing some stagnation with their offense. That 3 female matching mark really causing some trouble. See Morehart sneaking in there as well from one of the wing mids. This pressure continuing to ratchet up for this Eagles team. Maybe they're looking for a Callahan here.
The disc is mid-end zone. I mean, it's a real possibility at this point.
McKay trying to help them get out here, and even when they do break it, the zone does set pretty quickly. Dobson now. The Eagles zone continue to set and providing some pressure, and just looking to throw, but just a drop there from Tendon. Haven't seen that too often, and now SJR trying to take advantage to get a break back of their own. Pollitt has Siddiqui go into the open side, and he gets the score. Who else but number 25 throwing the assist?
Yeah, he turned on the jets. Really just a dead sprint for past his defender into the open space of the end zone. Pretty hard to deal with speed like that as a defender.
So then what can you do as a defender if you know that people want to hit that front cone, that open side? What can they do?
If there was some time, the disc was picked up relatively quickly. If there's time, you can try and fill that lane. Hopefully yell help to your teammates if you already see that you're behind your defender's already got the step on you. Lose anyways. But it was saw what was coming and picked the disc up quickly. Hit that. Well, that's also a very intelligent play from the offensive team.
Nepean, how are they going to respond right now? That's the real question. Can they get a quick hold? Is it going to be a long turnover point? That's the question right now. Carlos Baus out there discussing some strategy with the team. We've seen some momentum swings throughout this contest, and I think this is going to continue during this matchup.
I'd love to be a fly on the wall to listen to that conversation, because the last 2 offensive possessions that they've had, they've really been stifled and couldn't move the disc. And that's the first time this game they've really not moved the disc. So I'd really like to know what instruction he's giving and see what they do with this right now, because they need to move the disc.
Andreev working with Finley. Looking for Dickey. Dickey still has the zone set, going to reset it back. Farquhar over to Andreev. It's a different lineup from their last point.
Quicker movement of the disc. You can already see the change from Nepean.
Quicker movement though, but it gets a block by Harding. There is a call, a foul. Some discussion to be had, of course, and for those tuning into Ultimate for the first time, potentially, observers, the ones, we call them Team Orange, they're not going to make calls like fouls actively. So players make the call first, and then they can go to the observer to discuss, or they can choose to resolve it with themselves actually as well. So Justin Lee, the far side observer, getting in some discussion right now.
And we hope they resolve it themselves. We really don't want the observers in there. They're a great resource, and we're happy they're on the field, but we want players to resolve it amongst themselves. That's the whole spirit of the game and what the foundation of this sport is built on, right?
Looks like the disc is going to remain with the Knights here. And they sneak in for the score with Peyton Dickey.
So very fortunate for Nepean. As we were saying earlier, they were moving the disc a lot quicker and actually having some positive play for the first time in a couple of possessions with their offense. And they unfortunately sort of challenged the end zone. That foul call perhaps gave them a second life, if you will. But very fortunate for Nepean. They put the goal on the board in the end of the point. So we got 6-5, I believe, right now. But well done for Nepean. They really just needed to settle, move the disc, be quicker.
So both teams trading some breaks. Game still on serve here for the two squads. SJR slowly trotting out to the line, kind of like a power line out there for them.
And I'd like to see SJR right now. The last couple of possessions, they've had some shots over the middle, but the hands have kind of let them down. There's been a couple of drops in the middle, so I'd like to see them clean that up. They're open cuts in the middle, but unfortunately the hands have let them down. So if they can clean that up, they can complete a few passes and string it together and get back to playing their game. But again, that'll happen in the ebb and flow of a game, right? A player will drop one or two here and there. It's not like it's a chronic issue for the team, obviously, but if they can clean that up, they should be well on their way here.
Siddiqui out there with Harding, Pollitt. Cuvier's out there, Russell for this SJR offensive line, as well as Bohm and Karaminish. Inside shot from Pollitt, finds Siddiqui. Nice move there in the zone. Offensive point here for the Eagles. And it gets slapped away. Nice play there from Eddie Beard. Haven't called his name very often, but he comes in and makes an impact on the defensive line.
You could hear that across the field. That was a pretty solid slap on that D.
Nepean really using a lot of players for their team, and I think that's really going to help them right now. You see that contrasted with SJR playing a little bit more of a tighter lineup. Beard finds a reset there in Lumley. Can they cash on this break and take half? Hanging throw, Siddiqui was there and turning around. Beard trying to make, that would have been a very circus level catch if he could have made that happen.
I think we have a call. We have a call. See what the players discuss here. We also have an observer that was about 2 yards away, so good clear view if we need to go to that observer.
Glenn Ford is there if there needs to be any discussion to be had. Pollitt out there as well.
To be honest, Mr. Ford has been on the site for most of the calls today. He's been doing a great job, great positioning. So, reenactments, as we spoke about earlier in the broadcast.
Reenactments are an important part of any discussion. That's what we've learned.
So let me ask you, Theo.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Siddiqui, he was so fast earlier. He sprinted past his player, easy catch in the end zone. How fast do you think he'd be if he didn't have that giant hat on that's catching the wind? Like, that guy could be a track representative for our country, maybe.
Hey, don't hate on the swagger that Siddiqui has out there. He wants to play with it. He wants to get the sun protection going. I would go with a 5-panel myself personally, but hey, you got to do it. He's already going deep right now, and instead, Pollitt going to work give and go instead. Still in the deep space is Siddiqui. They have not looked upfield to hit him, and instead settling it back with Pollitt and Russell. Little give-go. Boom. Finds Pollitt. Pollitt's just going every other. Now sees Siddiqui, and there was a foul, though. I think that's why the throw went the way it did. McCloskey was on the mark there.
Can see Siddiqui was pointing and maybe asking something of the observer, so I'm not sure if he's asking about positioning on the restart because he had a lead on some of the defenders. It seems like he had some questions about this.
Some discussion to be had with Pollitt, Glenn Ford, and McCloskey. See if it's resolved. It's going to go back, and we'll see if it's contested or uncontested based on the observer's hand signals. That's going to be important to know. Coming in on 1, so it looks like uncontested foul. Is Pollitt going to keep it? Working quickly with Russell. Now over to Harding. Harding out of bounds. Rocking the Sunny G's, but landing out of bounds there.
And he knew it. He looked down and sheepishly just dropped the disc. Couldn't believe he was already out of play.
Can't really fake it when you see the line the way it is here, especially on this turf. Phil gets taken away. Great defense, forcing a high stall throw. Great attempt there from McCloskey, or excuse me, Beard there. And as I look to say that, SJR already on the move. Russell, big fake, finds Pollitt instead, and in and out of the hands.
Pollitt, pretty intelligent play. He had 2 Nepean players down on that D. He jumped over them to immediately grab the disc and go on almost a power play, knowing 2 players are down and behind the play.
The crossboard references, we're going to keep them coming for you, folks. And Bouse and a teammate out there crashing in Dunsmore, and that actually results in a turnover. You want to see one of them call the other off. Boom. Finds Siddiqui. Pollitt working with Siddiqui. The mark not really coming to either of them. Siddiqui still at Pollitt, but instead going to holster the disc for now. Finds Russell. Going to the far side to Harding, and that is a point you needed if you're an SJR fan in the audience. Tip disc, great concentration from Harding, and Russell getting involved to get the hold as it's 6-all, and it's a point for half here.
I tell you, Theo, Siddiqui, Russell, really standing out for me in this game. Such wonderful talents. They're really driving this team right now. Siddiqui just calm with the disc. He was patient. You said he holstered. It was great. Like, just understands the game and knows what his team needs at the right time.
That Team Manitoba experience coming in handy here as Nepean on this offensive point. It's going to be 4 male matching players on the field. A lot of the same suspects out there for SJR. Cuvier has played a lot of points. Ryan Marshall out there. Siddiqui. Russell. Pollitt. For Nepean, they're going to go with a different group than we saw earlier. So that difference in style of line calling is really evident right now. Coach Carlos and the rest of the staff electing to have some different people get involved. This offensive line going to go right to left on your screen.
I'll be curious to see how SJR comes out, whether they go zone, because Nepean will have some wind, but SJR has a couple of tall players to sit back if they need to in the deep spot.
McKay's out there with Farron. They're going to be handling along with Tenden. Tenden looking deep, batted away. Don't want to test that deep defender right there like that. And they're going to go zone right away. So maybe that was a set play call there in terms of just hucking and pinning, potentially. Pollitt going through. Siddiqui going to clean up a pass that was not intended for him. Russell has Cuvier going deep. Cuvier, nice reading of the disc. Just outside the end zone for the break and for half. Marshall going around to Pollitt, who spikes it as they take half. SJR Eagles, they got some momentum going to halftime.
Wonderful possession. The read on that disc on the far sideline, clearly outmatched by the defender, much taller defender, but excellent read on the disc to retain possession, swing it for the easy goal.
Both teams looking to make some slight adjustments. They've been playing really well. It's been a great game so far. We hope you tune in for the rest of the second half. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. second half action coming at you from the 2023 Canadian High School Ultimate Championships. The St. John's Ravenscourt Eagles in the dark jerseys from Winnipeg, Manitoba, up 7-6 right now. The Nepean Knights in white. Nepean starting on defense. Theo Wan here with Andrew Portwine, and we'd be remiss to not talk about how these teams got here, which is the strong coaching staff of each squad.
For sure, Theo. Both teams have really strong coaching staffs. St. John's, Dean Wright, legend.
And he helped build that Manitoba provincial program, the club program there, so very important. You see a lot of his handiwork, not just on the field right now, but in championships, on Team Canada's, in General Strike and Fusion, and amongst the other teams there in Winnipeg, PBHG as well. As that throw gonna result in a Nepean break opportunity. They need this to get things back to even here. Finley, Jackson finding Peyton Dickey, who's been all over the field for this Nepean squad. And a drop there from Farquhar, gonna give the disc back.
Nepean not doing themselves any favors. They're staying on this sideline, playing on the open side. They're limiting themselves to about a 1 meter wide strip of field that they're playing on. It makes it very difficult to play ultimate that way.
Zhang unlucky there, had a couple opportunities at this point. Finley has somebody open, opting for the hammer instead, and he put his hands on his head. Couldn't believe he put that throw out, but Watson coming down with it. Good catch there under pressure from Farquhar. Going around, and that's slapped away.
That was a really nice mark. The offensive player had a very difficult time to even step around that mark to try and execute a backhand. So that was a little forced for me. Just the mark was really well placed.
Jackson Finley picking up the disc once again. He's been a key handler for this defensive line, and his mom also on the coaching staff, Jackie Finley, along with Kelly McBride.
Yeah, I was going to say, Theo, we talked about Dean Wright. Let's get the other coaches. What about the best name in coaching, Sean Storm? Like, doesn't that sound like a superhero?
Yeah, Sean Storm, one of the coaches of this SJR team. We've got coaches everywhere, and we always want to give them love because they help these youth programs run and continue to see the players that are here today. Paul going around looking for Coulier, one of those Team Manitoba players we've talked about.
So we have a moment that disc went a little outside the side of the field. We got a moment. Nepean has some coaches too, don't they? What do you say, Theo?
That's true. We talked about Jackie Finley and Kelly McBride. We got Owen Lumley as well as Carlos Baus, their head coach. They've delineated that for us, so we're going to mention that, of course. Finley with the disc on this coffin corner. Up the line. Over to Watson. Watson going to continue things over, but that throw didn't really have a chance on the release there. You talked about the wrist turning over some of these throws. We're seeing it again.
Yeah, the wind is, there's another one, turf throw. The wind is starting to affect the players a little bit, but they haven't made the adjustments as quick as I thought they would. We saw it in the first half. They were floating. They're still having the same issues starting the second half.
And we know in this division, the throwers are going to continue to develop. A lot of them picking up the sport for the first couple of years, and something to be able to learn from. And I think that's something that they get from this tournament, is they get to practice these throws in these high leverage situations. You can see which throwers have had some of the polish, as Paulett is one of them, zipping it over. And then a little too fast from Zhang.
Yeah, SJR had punched through the Nepean defense. It was one Nepean defender back. They rushed that play. They could have had a 2 or 3 on 1 in the end zone, had your pick of goal scorers, essentially.
Finley, a couple hammer fakes. That stall count going high. He's going hammer again. This one had died into the turf. Watson had saved a hammer throw earlier from Finley near the red zone. That one unsuccessful there. Connor Minish now finds Paulett. Paulett going to swing it forward, and that is a hold there. I noticed some celebration from the sideline closest to us. Paulett finding another assist. And SJR up 2.
And Theo, you notice the SJR, they're trying to run through their key 2 or 3 or 4 players. You'll notice whoever picked up the disc looked immediately for the swing to the center of the field to Paulett. They know who they want to have the disc. We spoke about this in our earlier broadcast as well. The teams played different styles. One wanted the rock in the hands of their 2 or 3 stars, and the other team was more of a full team, well-rounded team. We're starting to see that a little bit here. SJR seems to be starting to rely on 3-4 players. Nepean's rolling out different lines almost every time. They're letting everybody get into the game.
Paulett has assisted on 6 of the 8 points for the Eagles. Also has a goal. So 7 of the 8 points have been accounted for in some way, shape, or form by number 25, Cooper Paulett. Can also talk about star players without talking about Steen Russell, who has been the exclusive puller for the female matching ratios that they have. So right now, 4 female matching players on the field are going to be pulling. Multi-sport athletes. About a lot of these players play Ultimate year-round, but they also dip in their toes. Big pull coming out. Going to go past half field and a little friendly roll for the SJ side. Lumley swinging over to won a bronze medal. Wicked Summer. Hoping to win a high school medal as well to add to the trophy case. The pick is called downfield. Discussion about the pick. Hopefully this gets resolved rather quickly. I'm going to say that most of the calls have been decided very quickly here at this tournament. Players been able to adjust to observers. For some of them, if they play club, perhaps in the junior final, if you're a Team Manitoba Open player, then yeah, you've played with observers. For some of the teams that we saw earlier in Lacoud and North Albion, you haven't. So this is a little bit of a chance to get that experience. I'm excited to see a lot of these players on the club stage later on this summer out in British Columbia for that tournament.
One of the other things as well, Theo, is these two teams in front of us, for example, the coaches have played at high levels and they can also explain to their players what observers do and the role and the function. Whereas some of the other teams where it may be just a teacher that's helping to facilitate the kids and coach and get on the fields.
Going right away, finding his target. Boom to Marshall, and wow, you were trying to finish a point, but it was such fast action there. They're going to go right away with their D-line offense, and now things treading onto dangerous territory here for Nepean, right?
Yes, sir, and I'm happy to defer a point if we can see action like that. That was a nice quick strike to the end zone. Well done. You can see SJR is starting to put their foot down and play the game they probably wanted to play a little more in the first half.
This is where that little bit of testing is going to help you. Forged by the fire, as they say. And they're going to have a chance to go pretty far in this tournament, I'm going to say. This game not over, of course. We've seen Nepean go on a run of their own. Earlier in this game, it was 3-2, and they rattled off 3 straight, a hold, and then 2 breaks in a row. So it is possible.
And I'll be curious to see what Nepean does now, because they did hit a little speed bump earlier. They had 2 or 3 possessions where they just couldn't move the disc forward. They couldn't even get a 1 or 2 passes strung together. So I'm curious to see, A, what defense is going to be played. Are they going to, St. John's going to go to a zone, which they did a bit earlier, and B, is Nepean going to be able to move the disc and not just get themselves pinched on this open side that they have been doing all game.
What I'm also interested in is if they decide to roll some of their players that have been touching the disc a lot all together on one line. So we've seen Callie Abaus, for example, or a Jackson Finley, and Patrick Tenden, for example. He's out on the field, but will they all be together? That's the question. As a deep pull going to be out of bounds, they're going to walk it up to face a zone look here from the Eagles. It's going to be 3 female matching players on the mark once again, it looks like.
And the Eagles have had a nice zone. They've been moving quickly. Their wings have activated down to almost be a de facto 4th mark sometimes. So they've got a little bit of a hybrid zone, but they've moved quickly and they've really forced Nepean's hand.
They actually have Eric Wang going to be marking depending on where the zone is. And Paul is skying up high for the block. Going to go right away for another break. And the Eagles are rolling right now. Daya gets the score.
And Theo, we talked about how we would respond and how the teams would react. I feel like that one is a killer for Nepean. They had some movement, but such a quick turnaround into that goal. I feel like that's a bit of a spirit breaker for a team when you see something like that.
How will they respond? That's the real question. Jackson Finley back out on the field. Kieran Bendel marching his way onto the line. Kira Watson, who's been a key handler in the backfield for them. Lizzie Farquhar. Body language, not the... I've seen lower body language is what I'm saying for a team that's been broken a couple times. So they look like they can respond on this point. See some discussion here from Finley and the rest of the team there. Watson delivering some instructions as well. fun fact for her, scuba diving certification. I don't even scuba dive, and that just sounds really cool.
I had my cert at one point in time, and it's difficult to get, difficult to maintain. So that tells me there's some discipline and intelligence in that person, because if you can get that, I think you can handle playing some Ultimate. And
Paul, a little spinorama pole there, delivering things downfield. Andreev also been a key part of this Nepean Knights squad, and they're going to have to face another zone here. Paulett is near the marks, hunting for another block. Got one earlier for our core big fakes. Finds McKay in the backfield. McKay, some fakes. Scuba instead, and right into the hands of Daya. Not where he probably wanted that. And Daya trying to go for bookends here. And he does just that. SJR cannot be stopped at this point.
And Theo, both of the last two possessions, we've seen Nepean try and go over the middle of the zone with a floaty throw. That one a scuba, the previous one was more of a pop pass, intercepted, and immediately into the end zone. They're baiting them into that middle throw, and the defenders are big. They're getting up for the skies and transitioning right away.
So what do you want to see from this Knights offense to try to counteract some of this defensive pressure that they're seeing?
I actually was happy with the way they started. I was thinking in my mind, they were patient. They were looking for the right opportunities. They moved downfield a little bit, but they got suckered into that one toss. The one toss up over the top in the middle. So they have to just be a little more restrained. We have some action on the field. Let's what do we see here?
Looks like a blue card was given out there by Justin Lee. Potentially a TMF, I'm going to suspect here, for maybe some cheering or something that was said on the sidelines.
Or the players may have encroached on the field before the goal was signaled. Could be more of a bench situation, not a personal. I have to admit I'm not familiar with my cards as well as I probably should be, but I think it was probably a little preemptive celebration from the bench. They're excited. They had just turned and convinced that. Timeout called Nepean, which is good. I can't see the score, but we're 4 or 5 points, I think, on the swing now, so they need to really settle the boat, you know, get everyone rowing in the same direction, if you want to use some cross-sport references.
I like
again,
it, I like it.
But they can't get phased and rattled. They know they can hang with this team. They've made a couple of foolish mistakes trying to go over the middle and give up 2 really quick points that I said are probably spirit breakers right now because they're such a quick transition.
Yeah, this program revived in 2017, playing their first high school championship here, and they're going to have a lot of players in that competitive Ottawa Juniors program going to make waves, not just this year, but for years to come. So lots to see here from this Nepean squad. We're going to keep talking through this time. Sometimes we take a break. We're going to keep it going. So we got another stream for you. There's going to be a break in between for us, but then after that, there's going to be another one. Maryvale, another Ottawa team in action. So you can see them on the stream as well. So more action coming for you. We got quarters, semifinals as semis, comma, and finals tomorrow. Just making sure you got both of that. Mitchell, Montcalm, and Maryvale going to go to battle here at 1500, 3 o'clock local time in some Pool A action. So now SJR Russell back out there to pull. You're going to notice something right now, Andrew. I'm going to ask you, what do you notice? Who is not on the field right now for SJR?
You're testing my vision as much as anything else here, Theo, but I don't see a Siddiqui here or a Poulette.
Paulette not on the field right now?
My French chicken, Poulette. Sorry, that came out, my Francophone side coming out.
Hey, we do like that. Bouse,
but again, gets a rest. First time you're starting to see the coaches like ease their lines a little bit, right? Maybe they feel comfortable. I don't know if they should. Nepean's still a solid team, but they're starting to feel comfortable maybe with this lead.
Emptying the bench is good to get them some experience. We probably saw that earlier as Bouse going deep. And there was a pick called, but it's going to result in a turnover regardless. Slipping out of the hands, foul called. No contest there from Hopkins. Played on Scorch this past summer.
So Theo, just to talk a little bit about the second half of this game, it was 7-6 at half. Nepean still stuck on 6. That's a pretty tough second half. I mean, they played a really great first half. They should have been very happy with the result, especially against an opponent of this quality. Something happened at half. They couldn't maintain the energy. They couldn't come out and do what they needed to do. we'll maybe talk to the coaches through the rest of the day or tomorrow about how they feel in half and what they thought went wrong, but SJR has just shown their class in the second half, and that's not to put Nepean down. They've still played pretty well, but SJR really just shows what they're made of, and some of their star players have really flexed their muscles.
If they're going to be successful as a player who we've called a lot, Bohm with the run-through block, Ewan making the play, and if they're going to win a title, I think they're going to have to rely on those shoulders. Nice little juke move. And that is a goal for, just want to get Justin Lee's call there, but Bohm getting a little bookends for the SJR side.
And just seeing the reaction of the players when they scored that goal, I'm almost positive that blue card was for preemptive separation. He froze and looked at the observer.
I froze as well there. That's part of it.
I'm pretty sure that's the card earlier on was the bench getting a little too getting quickly.
The sign indicated by observer going forward that be female matching this time around. 4 female matching players on the field.
So let's see how Nepean is out. Like, I want to make sure the coach, myself, I want to see the play whistle potentially, but we want to see them fight, right? You still want to see them play the right way, do the right things, and show their coaches that they should get more field time for these players that are on this line in critical moment at the end of the game. You still want to see them fight and do the right thing.
A new puller out on the field here for the SJR Eagles. Coulier has not necessarily gone on the stat sheet, but played a solid role for them and is now going to be out pulling with no Russell on the field for this Eagles side. Trying to put a bow on this game and walk into their next matchup against Etobicoke. That's going to be the key one. That's the A1 or D1, and D2 matchup for the top in the pool. You want to set yourself up for a better quarterfinal matchup opponent. That throw's hanging in the air. 10-10. Going up for the score, but no foul call. I think you were indicating to me that perhaps there was some push off there, but there's going to be no foul call by the defender, and Nepean's going to get the score.
Yeah, I thought I saw a little chicken wing maybe down in the lower back to dislodge the defender a little bit from being able to jump for that D.
Clean
maybe
hold.
not enough to totally affect the defender, but certainly did see a little chicken wing there. Although it could be lunchtime, and maybe I'm just thinking chicken wings, right, Theo?
Could be. It is lunchtime, local time here. Clean hold from Nepean. Got to be feeling good. Bendel throwing that one out for the score.
And I'm not sure if the coach diagrammed that they wanted that deep shot coming out of, to start the play and coming out of that break between points. I feel like he was probably asking for a more controlled play and fundamentals, and downfield it worked. But I feel like that's probably not the way they want to play the rest of this game, trying to get back in it with just quick shots.
75-minute games. This game started at 12, so it is heading towards wrapping up. If Nepean wants to make a comeback, it's got to start now. They can't. Obviously, it's game point from now moving forward for the SJR Eagles. They got their big-time players out on the line with a mix of some players that have also not received as much burn. Coulier still back out there. Bohm. Finds Zhang. No Pollitt or Russell right now. And a block coming through. Jeremy Fletcher. McKay. Nepean picking up some energy from the silence. If they get a break, I think they're really going to explode here with some silent energy. McKay zipping a throw in. Finds Finley just outside the end zone. Finley has McKay going up line. Finley back to McKay. A good bid attempt there, but no one hurt. That's what we want to see, and Nepean gets the break.
Theo, for my money, I like watching that Finley-Siddiqui matchup. Outstretched fully with Siddiqui almost getting that D. Finley right on the front of the goal line, and patient again, punches it in. Nepean has a little life here. They got some energy on the sideline.
See what SJR decides to do. I've known a team or two to decide to call a timeout in a situation like this. I'm not going to say they're going to do that because players are marching right onto the field. We got Harding out there. Bohm is jogging out to the field. Pollitt, Marshall, Coulier.
And I do want to mention on that last play for Nepean in the zone, like Fletcher really did bait that turnover. He was in the cup, but he kind of gave a little fake to the backfield, thinking that the lane was opening, and baited that handler into throwing right into his D. So well done on his part just to get that turnover.
Fresh new line here for the Nepean Knights. Callie Abaus bringing that club experience over, giving some orders here for the defensive line as they try to march their way back, trying to pump up her teammates as well. Pumping up Charlie Lumley there. Want to thank our production crew as well for bringing us this stream. We got some camera operators, we got people operating the scoreboards as well, making this stream happen for you. We thank you once again for tuning in. And Paul electing not to catch the pole, going to put himself in the back of the end zone. That pole did land in, or excuse me, it landed out, it looks like. It looked here in.
We have some sideline people asking the observer for clarification even. So
They're
it's not just
asking the
us
same
with,
thing, yeah.
you know, our vision at the far end of the field. It's hard to see that back line where it does, you know, exit the field.
Minish is out there with Marshall. Russell now with it. Finds the aforementioned Minish. Minish's throw to Cuvier, not going to reach its intended direction there, or area, I should say.
And that may have been a little fortunate for Nepean because their zone, their cup was not moving well at all. So if that had been completed, there was no way those defenders were getting back into the play. Let's see if they go with the same three in the cup. They're looking gassed. They're not moving very quickly at all on this these swing passes.
They got Lumley on the mark, who's a big person out there. Speaking of big, you got Harding with the disc. He's towering over everyone right now. It's got to be like 6'4", or something like that. Paul looking deep for the winner. Finds his target. That's Connor Minish, ruling that a goal. And the SJR Eagles, flying into a big matchup with Etobicoke. That's going to be one to keep an eye out on. 13-8 the score line. Andrew, what did you see in this contest as we put a bow on this one?
First half for Nepean was fantastic. They played up to their competition's level, I think. Nepean is bad. I'm not putting them. They played up to a championship caliber, but in the second half, SJR really made up and showed they're serious. They're here to win.
SJR gonna roll into their much anticipated matchup 2-0. Nepean falls to 0-2. They're gonna have another matchup and try to get their first win of the day. Keep in mind, we will not be streaming in the next time slot, but instead the one after that.
I believe, Theo?
Yes, 3 o'clock, Maryvale versus Mitchell Montcalm. Make sure you tune in for that one. And also, as we mentioned previously, quarterfinals, semifinals, and finals all being streamed here on the Ultimate Canada YouTube channel. For Andrew Portwine, I'm Theo Wan. Thank you for the production team for making us sound and look good. And we'll see you at 3 o'clock.